7 o'clock, we'll begin the regular meeting of the Millcreek Township Board of Supervisors with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moving on to item number 3 on the agenda, public comment on agenda items other than development or rezoning applications. Being none, we'll move on to item number 4, approval of minutes. We have 2 sets of minutes, one from the reorganizational meeting of January 4th and then the regular meeting of January 4th. Do I hear a motion for the reorganizational meeting? Any amendments, any changes, additions to that?
I'll move approval of the organizational meeting of January 4th.
Okay, do I hear a second on that?
I second.
Okay. Mr. Morgan?
Yes.
Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes. And then for the regular meeting of January 4th, any additions or corrections? Being none, hear a motion to approve?
I'll move approval.
Okay.
I'll second.
Second. Okay, give me just a second there. Okay, Mr. McGrath, how do you
Yes.
vote? Mr. Morgan?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay. The bills, item number 5, approval of the bills. We have quite a list of them there. Anything from the batch register that we need to talk about? I think everything looks good in there. Do I hear a motion to approve payment of the bills?
I move approval.
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. Morgan?
Yes.
Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Item number 6, referral to the Planning Commission. Let's see here. For a property, for a petition to requesting a change in zoning classification for Judy Fenton for property at 6038 Peach Street, now zoned R1 Single Family District, asking for a change in classification to C2 General Commercial District. Township index number 740050. Do I hear a motion to refer that to the Planning Commission for their action?
So moved.
Okay. Do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
Mr. Morgan?
Yes.
And I vote yes. That has been referred to the Planning Commission. That will be for their meeting on February 2nd, I think it is. Yes. Is that right? February 2nd? Okay. Item number 7, announcement of bids and quotations received. Let's see, we have number 1, or the first one on is the street storage barn lighting. Mr. McGrath, do you have anything on that?
From Jeff Tenney in the electrical department, would like permission to purchase LED wall packs. This would be for the new cold storage building, the former salt storage building behind the streets department. He received a quote from Height Electric for $4,012. From Weber Electric $3,962.70, and from Mars Electric $4,182.12. And it's Jeff's recommendation that we purchase the lights from Weber Electric for $3962.70, and I'll move approval of that.
Okay, do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
Mr. Morgan?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, the next item on there is a command cabinet for the EMA coordinator fire code official vehicle. I have the information on that. This comes from Matt Exley. He's asking for a request. He's requesting permission to purchase a Rockland custom cabinet to fit in the emergency management SUV. This will fit in the back of the vehicle. It's custom made to hold communications equipment and manuals and stuff, and it kind of folds out and acts as a desk at any sort of incident. And we've got prices here from number 1 is Rockland Havis at $2,794. Number 2 is Tactical Command Cabinets with a bid of $3,350. And the third bid comes from First Priority Emergency Vehicles at a cost of $3,650. Matt is asking that we make the purchase of the Rockland Havis at $2,794, and I'll make that in a request of approval on that, a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay. Second. Okay, Mr. Morgan?
Yes.
How do you vote? Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Item number 8, Resolution 2016-R-4. It's a resolution to authorize and delegate signature authority with respect to the agreement to authorize access to PennDOT systems and other agreements and documents pertaining to the said department. Now, let's see here. Okay, and under this here, we all have our signature authority. Mine as Township Secretary, and we're authorizing to sign these documents whenever we need to with PennDOT.
Okay.
Do I hear a motion to approve resolution?
I'll move to approve the resolution.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Mr. Morgan?
Yes.
Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, Resolution 2016-R-5. A resolution to amend Resolution 2008-R-46 by the Board of Supervisors on December 3rd, 2008, pertaining to the administration of the Right to Know law, which is Act 3 of 2008, within the township to officially appoint certain individuals as open records officers for the township and for the police department. The changes we are making from 2008 until now, let's see here, in the police department, the change was with the late from Randy Fapler, who was a police officer with the police department, of course, and recently passed away. That duty has now been assigned to Sergeant Leslie Mitchell of the Special Services Divisions and Captain Scott Height, commander of the Investigative Services Division. He's designated as the alternate. As far as the township business, Cheryl Williams, Assistant Secretary, will be the open records clerk, with Mark Zaheski, the treasurer, as being the alternate officer. So that's the change. Rather than read everything, those are the changes. We're required by law to have a resolution appointing those people to those positions there. So do I hear a motion to approve that resolution?
I'll move to approve Resolution 2016-R-5.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. Morgan?
Yes.
Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Item number 10, action on proposed agreement with Crown Castle East LLC. Let's see here. Turn this over to Evan for that.
That's not fair.
I'm sorry, Mr. Adair.
Well, telecommunications changes, and I think we discussed this a while back. Mr. Ritter was at one of the meetings. This is an agreement, and it's probably the first of several that we'll end up doing over the years, that will authorize a third party to utilize rights-of-way in the township upon filing appropriate permits. In this one, will involve in at least one case an existing street lighting pole being decommissioned, replaced by a pole to be constructed by the operator, Crown Castle, which will maintain the street lighting. And if and when it ever ceases to do that, it will be tendering funds that will be used, if it doesn't take care of it, to get rid of the private pole and wiring and recommission the pole for future public use. This has pretty much been vetted. It's the first time we did it. It references the wireless communications facilities regulations that we put in the zoning ordinance within the last year, because they really apply to a large extent without our repeating them in this agreement. The bulk of the agreement really results mostly from the number of plans that are attached as an exhibit to the agreement.
Okay.
So I recommend approval.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve that agreement?
So moved.
Do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
Mr. Morgan?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Item number 11. Give me just a second here. Item number 11 is action on outlease termination with the U.S. termination agreement with the U.S. Postal Service. For those that may need to be refreshed on this, The township has a lease, actually we'll be ending this lease hopefully tonight, with the U.S. Postal Service for property over at 2709 Legion Road, also known formally as the Joy Center. Of course, as you know, we ceased operations at that property in 2015, and we were obligated to fulfill 2 more years of the lease on that property. We were able to negotiate that down to an amount that we believe is fair for everybody. There was also some disposal of some furnishings that we had over there too. So just cut to right to the chase on this. We have agreed with the Postal Service to pay a one-time payment of $140,000 as opposed to $258,000 that would have been if we would have paid it out over the 2-year period. So they've agreed to that. We have agreed. I can tell you that we fought like the dickens to get it down to that there. It still bothers me that we have to pay this, but it is what it is, and I guess it's the only fair settlement we can get. I have consulted with many property managers and people involved in real estate, and they think it's a pretty fair shake compared to what it could have been. So with that stated there, this agreement, the outlease termination agreement with the Postal Service, I'd like to make that as a motion that we, as the board, approve that agreement, and then we can be done with this thing once and for all. I think, Brian, you may have had a comment or something?
Well, I'll wait until we are
Okay.
done with this, and I'll
Okay.
comment on the furniture.
Okay, so I make a motion that we approve this outlease termination agreement.
My only comment, John, would be appreciate all your efforts. I know you made dozens and dozens and dozens of phone calls on
Yeah.
this, trying to reach resolution, and I want to thank you for
Thank you.
for all the effort.
Yeah, it's not something that we wanted to do, but we had to do. We were obligated to do something for whatever reason. But anyway, do I hear a second on that motion?
I'll second.
Okay. Morgan. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
And you were looking for, I did have a comment, John, on another
Yes.
issue related
Okay.
to this. The
Okay.
furniture, disposal of the furniture. There was a significant amount of office furniture that was still left at the former post office. The township made use of some of it here in the building. Some departments wanted some of the desks and so forth. What was left, we didn't know whether there was any value to it or not. We had a local expert come in and take a look at it, and he felt that there really wasn't much value. As a matter of fact, he said that there was no value to it. It was obsolete. A lot of it that had been disassembled, there were no instructions for it and no way to know exactly how to put it back together. And there were several units that were still assembled, and we felt that there may be some value to someone. Excuse me. I contacted Mike Batchelor, who with the Community Foundation, to see if there might be some nonprofits who would be interested in the materials. He said that he would check around, but in the meantime, we also contacted Habitat for Humanity, who made a trip over there last week, said yes, they would be interested, and today they went over and removed the majority of what was left that they felt that they could still use. What was left, the parts and pieces, we were able to, our building maintenance foreman, Jerry Berger, was able to contact a fellow from Andy's Equipment, who said that he would be willing to haul away what was left at no charge, and he is going to try to reassemble some of it and make that available for other nonprofits. So I think that that's a very generous offer. So we took up Andy from Andy's Equipment on that offer. So the furniture by tomorrow should be gone.
Yes. I want to thank you for arranging for that. Just as a matter of clarification, this office furniture we're talking about is mainly just cubicles. You know, the partition walls, there were no chairs or working desks involved in this. This was stuff that was really, for the better term, scrap. And unfortunately, there was no other use for it. It is obsolete, as Brian mentioned, and it is what it is.
Hopefully Andy will be able to piece some of it back together again, and someone would be able to make use of it like Habitat did.
Right.
I think they ended up with about 7 or 8 units.
Yeah.
Which is good. I'm glad somebody could get some use out of it. Maybe there'll be some more.
Right.
I would suggest that for the record, that you make a motion to the effect of what you just said.
Okay.
And that the board formally approve it.
Okay.
So that it's the board action, not just some administrative
All
action.
right, I would move that Habitat for Humanity be permitted to acquire the usable materials. They're a nonprofit. They will make use of it. And Andy's Equipment haul away the remaining valueless materials at no charge to the township.
Okay. Do I hear a second on that motion?
My only question is, to Evan, would those materials have to be bid out? Or-
No, I mean, actually, there were some inquiries as to value, and we got information that there
I
wasn't
do
any
have
value.
communication
We don't
from,
have to do that, it's just that the board really needs to formally authorize things like this.
For the
I
disposal?
I do have documentation that the
You covered the
remaining
bases.
material is valueless.
Well, I will second the motion.
Okay. Okay, Mr. McGrath, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Morgan?
Yes?
And I vote yes. Thank you. Thankfully, we'll be done with this nightmare here real soon. So, okay, next on the agenda, item number 13. No, I'm sorry, item number 12. Heating and cooling maintenance agreement proposal. Let's see, did you handle that?
Yep.
Okay.
Obviously, the heating is working very well tonight.
Too well, I think, you know. You guys warm out there or cold?
Yeah.
We're kind of hot up here.
Yikes.
You know, we're always in a hot seat.
From Jerry Berger, again, our building maintenance foreman, he would like permission to have the board enter into an agreement, a 3-year agreement with Johnson Controls. They have been our heating and cooling maintenance contractor for, well, since this building was renovated back in the 90s. And the proposal that they presented is first year of $15,040. And let me see if I can give you the subsequent years here.
Yep, here we go, page 10.
Yeah. Okay, $15,340 in year 2 and $15,660. So there are minor increases in years 2 and 3, and it's Jerry's recommendation that we utilize Johnson Controls, and I'll move approval of that.
Okay, do I hear a second on that?
Brian, I just have one question for you. I'm looking at it, it's a $46,000 contract overall, and I don't see any other proposals. Is this a proprietary system that necessitates us only using this company?
Johnson Controls, I believe, was the installer, and they have been providing all of the maintenance. I don't think that there's, not that I'm aware of anyways, according to Jerry, anyone else locally that would be able to handle this type of project.
All right, I will second.
Okay. Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
Mr. Morgan?
Yes?
And I vote yes. Okay, now item number 13, stormwater management agreement with First Energy. Pennsylvania Electric is the developer. Mr. Morris.
First Energy, as the developer and the owner, will be responsible to own and maintain the system, and everything has been approved by Hill Engineering. We recommend approval.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Comments? Being done? I'll call.
I'll move approval of the stormwater management agreement.
Okay, do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. McGrath, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Morgan?
Yes?
And I vote yes. Item number 14, a sidewalk deferral agreement for Deborah Shoemaker and Mark Luthi. Did I pronounce that right? Luthi or Luthi? Please
Not
pardon me
sure.
if I mispronounced it. Okay.
They're
Mr.
looking
Morris.
to construct a new home on Aspen Drive, and there are no sidewalks in the area, so we recommend approval of the sidewalk deferral agreement.
Okay, and this is typical of any other situation? If
Yes, it is.
sidewalks are built adjacent to it, then this must be built at the same
Correct.
time, so.
Or if the township is forced to put them
Or
in
for
all
forced
over.
to, yeah.
Correct.
Then of course. Okay, do I hear a motion to approve that agreement?
Mr. Grove, a quick question for Mr. Morris.
Yeah.
Rick?
Yes.
Looking at item 3D on the agreement, there's a blank line. I'm just curious, is that for us to add additional comments if necessary? And
Correct. We don't have any comments.
it's an erroneous, okay.
It might not be a bad idea if in the future, if there's nothing that you delete it.
Yeah, delete it.
Okay. Do I hear a motion? Did I get a motion on that?
I'll move to approve.
Okay,
I'll second it.
okay. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, give me a second here. Okay, item number 15, financial security release request for Chipotle Mexican Restaurant. VCG Properties LLC is the developer. Mr. Morris again.
Present amount of security withheld is $23,628 by PNC Bank, NA check number 1500. Everything has been satisfactorily completed, and we recommend approval of the security release.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve that request?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second it.
Okay. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, item number 16, financial security request reduction, Shenandoah Meadows subdivision number 4, Pastori Incorporated is a developer. Mr. Morris.
PNC Bank number 00264160-00-000 in the amount of $116,917 is the present amount of security withheld. They've requested a reduction to $17,173.20. We reviewed everything, and we found that though they may be entitled to that, we do not go below the 10% of the original security, which is in the amount of $18,544. So our recommendation is that we reduce it to the $18,544.
Okay, any questions by the board about that?
I'll move that the security be reduced to $18,544.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, item number 17, Hill Engineering Services proposal, Joe's Gym channel cleaning permit. Mr. Morris, again.
This is a recurring problem, a chronic problem that we have every time it rains hard, where we have a residential area that is flooded out. So we asked Hill Engineering to provide a proposal to provide the engineering services to the township to obtain a DEP permit that will allow us to clean the channel. It is over 100 yards long. It's an open channel on the west side of Joe's Gym, south of West Ridge Road. It's an unnamed tributary of Wilkins Run that clogs with sediment and other debris that causes the chronic flooding. Hill has offered to provide the services to obtain a Chapter 105 joint permit. Now, that is a combination Pennsylvania Water Obstruction and Encroachment Permit with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Section 404 permit. And they would do this for a lump sum fee of $7,500. Public improvement funds were included in the 2016 budget specifically for this project. I recommend approval of the proposal.
Mr. Morris, would this be a work order under existing open end with Hill Engineering?
No, not at all.
Did we receive quotes from any other firms?
For this one, no. Typically, we do. We've worked with Hill in this area. They're somewhat familiar with it, and we felt that one was good.
Okay, any other questions, Brian?
Nope.
Okay, hear a motion to approve that services proposal?
I'll move approval.
Do I hear a second on that?
I'll second it, but I would suggest to Mr. Morris in the future we try to get another quote.
We typically get 3. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I'll vote yes.
Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, communications. Mark, do you have anything?
No.
Anything for us? Okay. Brian?
First off, before I forget, I would like permission from the board to attend the quarterly meetings of the Pennsylvania State Association of Township Supervisors Executive Board.
Yep.
I'm going to be going Sunday, January 31st, returning on the 2nd. There'll be no cost to the township.
Okay, is that in the form of a motion?
Well, I'm looking for permission.
Okay, I'll make a okay. Either way.
I'll move to approve the
Okay.
request.
Okay, I'll second that. Okay, Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
Oh, public comment. 'cause that
Public,
doesn't
I'm sorry,
matter.
public comment on that. Okay. I forgot
Sorry.
about that. Yes, thank you. Okay, being no comment, Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I'll vote yes.
I vote yes. Mr.
Yes.
McGrath? Okay. Okay. Make a note on that there. Okay.
back
now
to
what
the
else?
agenda?
Back to the agenda. there,
Okay.
yes.
From the Streets Department, Pam Fitzpatrick, who works as the secretary in the Streets Department, had mentioned that for whatever reason, people have begun to frequent her office from the general public. And there are many times when she is alone in the office, and she would prefer if there was some way to keep the door closed and locked, and then be able to have the public, if necessary, at least in the hallway and knock on the door. So Jerry Berger, from Building Maintenance, suggested a sliding window be installed in her door. We got a quote from Corporate Glass for $278.50, which I think is a real deal, and I would move approval of that.
Okay, do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. McGrath, how do you
Yeah.
vote?
Yes.
Mr. Morgan?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Request from Gary Walters in the Streets Department for some training. The first is for Field Tech Recertification class. This would be April 5th for Kurt Hall and Tom Dulesky. It would also require a one-night stay, and I believe that this is in Penn State. I'm not positive, but it doesn't say on here, but I think it's in State College. Cost of the class is $240 each, plus $30 for the renewal card, plus the room and board. I would move approval of that.
Okay, do I hear a second on that?
Is the total cost $240? Or
It's $240 each, I'm sorry.
And that includes registration and the rooms?
No, that's just the registration. I don't have the cost here for the room and board. It would be plus room and board. The registration is the $240. I could get that for you. There's no great rush, except they have to get registered.
Yeah, what is
It's
the
up to you.
deadline? Yeah, what's the
I'm going to guess you're probably talking maybe another $400 or so for both of them, for room and board.
Well, I would move to approve the 240 and the 30, and a cost not to exceed 400 for the rooms.
Okay, we can do that.
Okay. Okay, that's in the form of a motion, Brian?
Yes.
And yours is in the form of a second with that condition on it?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. McGrath, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Morgan?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
Next is for an LTAP class, the Principles of Paving. This is going to be April 13th, a one-day class in Vernon Township. This would be for Joe Talarico, Steve Clark, Josh Mitchell, Rob Fitzpatrick, Frank Molina, and Ron Kennedy. Now, there's no cost to that, and I'll move
Right.
approval.
Okay, do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
Mr. Morgan?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
And on warm mix asphalt, this would be April 12th in Green Township. One-day seminar for Tom Dulesky, Chris Brenner, Rob Balco, and Mike Sornberger, and I'll move approval of that.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Mr. McGrath, how do you
Yes.
vote? Mr. Morgan?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay.
Okay, next, from Bill Hitchcock, would like permission to purchase one Falls 11-foot reversible snowplow from U.S. Municipal Supply for $9,551. This is a CoStarz contract, and I would move approval of that. It's in the budget.
Okay, yep. Do I hear a second on that?
Well, I just want to ask again about different quotes, or is this the best price we get through CoStarz?
Typically, well, always when you go through CoStarz, you don't have to get quotes or put it out for bid because the state has already
They've
done
already
that.
done it.
Although we frequently do check on CoStarz prices to see if they are in fact the lowest. On a rare occasion, you'll get something lower. That wasn't the case here.
Okay. I'll second the motion.
Okay, Mr. McGrath, how do you
Yes.
vote? Mr. Morgan?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
From Ashley Marsteller, our Parks and Rec Director, would like permission to hire a new employee, a lifeguard, Jonathan Bauer, at a rate of $7.65, and a returning employee of Katie Howland, a water safety instructor substitute, at a rate of $9.50, and I'll move approval of those two employees.
Okay, do I hear a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
Mr. Morgan?
Yes.
Okay, and I vote yes.
That's it for me.
Okay, I've got a couple things here. Okay, coming from, let's see here, this is from Dan Olet, who is the fire chief of West Ridge Fire Department and also an employee here at the township. He and 3 other West Ridge firefighters will be traveling to San Diego, California on Sunday, January 31st to attend to the Firehouse World Conference. Training begins on Monday, February 1st, and they return on Friday, February 5th. He's requesting 5 days of paid leave to attend. Thank you for your consideration. Typically and historically, we have only allowed half of that time as to be away as far as compensating them for that. The remainder of the time, they have to use vacation time or personal.
That's been the policy.
That has been the
for a
policy,
long
so
time.
we'll make note of that, Cheryl, that as per policy.
And this is not a surprise to Dan, he's
Yeah,
aware of
he's
that.
very much aware of it. He was advised of it before, so I'll put that in the form of a motion to approve that training request with those conditions placed upon it.
I'll second that.
Gentlemen, I do have a concern about this request. I'm looking at the other requests for trainings we have from other employees. It's all in-state. Yeah, it's all for training that is sponsored by a state agency, and it's all for staff that work for the township, and they're getting training in their capacity as employed township staff. My concern with this particular request is we have a gentleman who works as a laborer in our sewer department requesting us to pay for him to have paid leave to go to San Diego, California for a conference that, looking at what he submitted to us, I don't see any justification for how it's a benefit to the township or how it's required training for him as a as a fireman. It seems like it's optional, and I'm concerned it's not exactly a good use of our resources to approve any paid leave for this
Okay.
conference.
I will say that, first of all, he's just asking for the time off, and he'd be getting 2.5 days of pay from the township. The other 2.5, he would be using benefits, whether it be his personal time, or personal days that we give under the benefit program, or vacation time. This is something that, when you look at the time that the volunteer firefighters contribute to our community, personally, I don't see there's a big problem with this, but that's just my own view. Of course, as you know, I feel very strongly about the fire departments and the service they provide. So that's my position. I'm not going to get argumentative about it, but
Mr.
I
Groh,
think we should grant it.
I'm not trying to denigrate the department, and if it's for an in-state training that was for a certification, I would certainly move to approve it, as this is an out-of-state conference that has no real justification on what the purpose of it is. I couldn't vote in favor of it.
Okay, so,
And my only comment would be that I don't know if it's always out of state or not. I know that many volunteer.
it moves around. I
Many,
know that.
does it?
Yeah, it moves
Okay.
around.
Many volunteer firefighters will go to, what's the one?
Lewisburg.
Lewisburg.
Yep.
And ask for similar time off. That's happened a number of times. This one happens to be in San Diego. I can understand questioning the distance, but again, that's not,
Right.
it's not coming directly from the township coffers,
Yeah.
except for the 2.5
Yeah.
days
I guess,
off.
yeah.
I suppose if there were an issue, there may be one with the department itself.
Right.
Willing to spend the money to send an individual to San Diego. Then again, it says that there is breaking down barriers to find the best tactics, the most advanced technology, and latest research to influence and enhance the American Fire Service. So I would imagine there is a significant amount of benefit to a trip like that. I can understand questioning the distance.
Yeah.
Well,
However,
I'm questioning the purpose as well,
Okay.
not just the distance.
Okay. As far as the distance, whether it was in California or in Edinburgh, that the fact is that it would still be time out of the office, and the time would still be the same. It'd be 5 days that he's requesting. We normally provide under policy 2.5 days. As far as questioning the legitimacy of the course, I guess maybe the thing to do would be to talk with Mr. Olet, Chief Olet, we call him, and see what his thoughts are, and if he can show you what the reason for that. Hopefully you don't end up with this discussion again next year, because this is something that's been going on for many years with the fire department, and Dan has requested this.
Well, again, and it's not always the world.
Yeah, it's not always this. There is one that he goes to annually. Last year, I cannot remember, but I know he went to it last year,
And it's
too.
not just
Yeah.
Dan Olet.
Yes.
There's other firefighters who have gone to
Right.
other training
Right.
with similar requests.
Yeah, for the public that doesn't know, I think there are, 11 Millcreek Township employees that are firefighters with their volunteer companies in Millcreek Township. There's other employees who do not reside in Millcreek and are volunteers in their own respective communities. So that's what we've got here, and as long as we can continue to help them in whatever way we can, I feel very strongly about that.
Are we sending all 11 to this
Oh,
training?
no.
No, this is just Dan. Dan
Why?
and 3 other firefighters with West Ridge who are not employees. No, this is just Dan himself as an employee of the township.
Would we allow all 11 to go if they requested us to let them go?
No, not at the same time.
Well, I
We wouldn't
very
have-
much doubt that the volunteer fire department would be
Yeah.
able to swing sending, well, maybe if there were 4 fire departments.
Yeah,
I don't
but
know.
that would be tough for us to have that many people out of the building at the same time.
That's correct.
We may need them here, so you never know, so. Anyway, we have a motion on the floor there? I made the motion, did Brian, did you make a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. McGrath, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Morgan?
No.
Okay, and I vote yes.
Just to reiterate that I'll be going on January 31st to Enola.
Enola to January 31st, okay. Okay, let's see here. The next one that I have here is from Millcreek Police Department. This comes from Chief Mike Tesor. I respectfully request the Millcreek Board of Supervisors to approve the following at the meeting of today. Number one is the permission to hire 3 new officers effective February 1st, 2016, pending the positive results of background checks, physical exams, and psychological exams. These individuals will serve in the Patrol Division of Millcreek Township Police Department, and including the Director of Police, will raise our complement of officers to 63. So I'll make a motion that we approve that portion of this request here.
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. McGrath, how do you vote?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I made that. Okay, you made, okay. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote? I'm sorry.
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. Okay. Sorry about getting out of step there. Item number 2, permission to remove the probationary status of Patrolman Joseph Gross and elevate him to a Class D patrolman, effective February 2nd, 2016. Patrolman Gross has completed his probationary year and has met or exceeded all of the requirements expected of a first-year patrol officer within our department. I'll make a motion to approve that removal of probationary status.
I'll second.
Okay. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Item number 3, permission for Corporal Dave Parmenter and Detective Ryan Mays, both of the ISD, or Investigative Services Division, to attend a 2-day training titled Non-Traffic Death Investigation at the Pennsylvania State Police Training Center in Meadville on February 16th and 17th. There is no registration fee required, and no additional costs are associated with this class. I'll make that in the form of a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. McGrath, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Morgan?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Number 4, permission to designate Sergeant Leslie Mitchell of the Special Services Division as the primary right-to-know officer within the township. Of course, we did take that, yes.
I guess we already
That's
did that.
effective January 11th, okay, pardon me. Number 5, permission to purchase 8 additional tasers and their accessories from Taser International, Scottsdale, Arizona, at a total cost of $9,500.88. This acquisition, which was pre-approved to the 2016 municipal budget request, will be the final stage in providing individual tasers for every patrol officer in the department. It will also account for extras in the event of breakage or special details where detectives must be equipped with less lethal weaponry. He does have a quote here, and of course that matches up with that. I'll make a motion to approve that purchase request.
Mr. Gross, I just want to clarify. So this is the next phase, so that we already own this equipment and other kinds of it, and this is just to be consistent with,
Yes,
hence no quotes, and this is
right. This,
the product we're going with.
right,
Okay. I'll second your motion.
okay. Mr. McGrath, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Morgan?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Item number 6, permission to participate in the 11th Annual 11th National Drug Take-Back Initiative scheduled for April 30th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the municipal building here at the township. This is a collaborative effort with the DEA, who will take custody of secured medications in the aftermath. Our participation will require one uniformed police officer to be paid at the overtime rate for approximately a 6-hour period. I'll make that in the form of a motion.
Mr. Gruggis, my question is, if we have an officer working during regular business hours at the township building, what necessitates him receiving an overtime rate?
Okay, this would be an officer that would be in addition to their normal complement that are here in the daytime, so this would be an officer that would have to be brought in to cover just this event right here itself.
Just seems to me there could be a scheduling solution to avoid overtime.
Okay, okay then. Mr. McGrath, do you have any questions about this here too?
I'm wondering who's,
We have our patrol out there, we have 7 officers, we
I'm
have
wondering
our
who's
station
paying that
officer.
overtime, though.
I think, and we can hold off on this if you want to do that. Typically, I think the Drug Enforcement Agency reimburses us for this
Can you shed
program.
any light on that, Mark? Do we get reimbursed for that overtime?
I couldn't tell you offhand, I don't know.
This isn't until April 30th. You
Yes,
wanna
we'll hold
and
off
find
on
out?
that, yes,
We can do that.
yes.
Do we need to move to table that?
Yeah, we'll move to table that motion right there.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Morgan?
Yes?
And I vote yes, we'll table that. Just to give you a little sneak peek, folks, on April 30th this year, we will have a drug take-back program here, and once we get this financial part of it taken care of, this is a great opportunity to get rid of medications that you no longer need. Please do not throw it down the toilet. It messes up the sewer system, and enough of that accumulates, and we just end up with bad water and other problems that go on top of it. So please, this is a great program to take advantage of. Okay, give me a second here. Next item, Webmaster Services Agreement for the GovQA Community Development Application. This is part of our internet provider that they are, let's see here, what was it? John Fleming approached me about, this is something we agreed to before, and this is the actual documentation, so it was permission to sign the document is what it was. If you look back here in 2000, let's see here, no, that was just earlier this year.
January 18th?
Yeah, January 18th, that was just last week there. This has to do with our community development application for the Webmaster Agreement at the cost of $7,800 and a one-time implementation cost of $3,000, for a total of $10,800.
Is this for designing our website, John, or?
It has something to do with that there, yes. It is, let's see, the description, I'll go to Schedule B. The GovQA services provided by WebQA are citizen request management applications that assist in the customer and citizen request for service or information task through the CRM applications, which are included there. Let's see, these are all technological or technical terms that the computer people are talking about here. If you want, we can hold off on this and get some further discussion with John Fleming about this, just to see what it is.
If that's all right with you, John, I'd rather have a better understanding what I'm voting on before we vote
Okay.
yes on that, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Unless,
We'll table
is that time sensitive?
I don't think it is there. However, I think it might have something to do with our phone system too,
Is it,
the new phone
is
system.
it related to the phone system?
It is related to the phone system, I know that, so, which is something we're trying to get installed here soon, so.
Well, I'd appreciate if we can clarify what we're voting on
Okay,
before we
we'll
vote.
get that clarified then.
Thanks, John.
Okay. Okay. Next item that I have here. Couple things here regarding tax forms. Give me just 1 second to get the right information. Okay, for those of you who may or may not be aware, last year we did not have IRS tax forms here in the building. The IRS has stopped doing that. You will get your tax forms online. You are able to go pick up tax forms downtown at the IRS office at Griswold Plaza, if you're so inclined to use the paper forms. You can also call a phone number, 1-800-829-3676, and request that the form be mailed to you. But it seems like about 90% of taxes are filed online. I think I've been doing mine the last 4 years. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but that seems to be what is the standard operation now for IRS filings. So we will not have tax forms in the office, I'm sorry to say. I know many of our seniors rely on that. This way they don't have to go downtown, but we're very apologetic about that. IRS won't send them to us, plain and simple. Yeah. And let's see here, but we do have some good news here for you. Millcreek Township is pleased to be an AARP tax aid site. This is free income tax preparation through AARP, sponsored by the IRS. The program is for those who are low to middle income, generally $50,000 or less. There is no age qualification, but there is special attention to those 60 years of age and older. Tax preparation is held at the municipal building every Monday and Friday, beginning in February through the middle of April. Appointments are necessary. You just don't come in, you have to make an appointment. You want to get a hold of Judy Zelina in our Public Services Department. She'll be able to get you filled in there, get you fit into a time slot there. So please do that if you so desire to utilize that service. One other thing here, tax schemes. People have been getting, the police department has made me aware, and I just know of situations with friends. There's a scam going on, a scheme going on where you'll receive a call from somebody saying you owe taxes, and they're looking for your credit card numbers. It's a phishing scheme. Unfortunately, there have been some victims to this, giving out their credit card information and so on. If somebody calls you and asks for your information, your financial information, account numbers or credit cards or anything like that, don't give it to them, plain and simple, but I know it's easy to get caught up in it. Another scheme going on is that people get a phone call saying that their child is in jail and needs to pay money for bail and stuff like that. It's another scheme too, if they're asking you to wire the money. That's the real thing, if it's wire or PayPal account. So please be aware of that, folks. It doesn't matter how old you are, you can fall into this scheme there. So that's just some advice coming from the police department.
I received a call from Randy Quaid this week.
Randy Quaid?
Randy Quaid and
Okay.
Bill Leonard from Berkheimer received the same phone call that if we didn't return the call, that we were going to run into trouble with the Attorney General's office.
Oh, boy. Wow, you're still here, too. Okay.
I didn't call Randy back.
Okay, you didn't call him back, okay. Anyway, I mean, we're taking a little fun at that, but that's a serious matter. Please don't fall victim to it. And if you do, please get a hold of our police department right away. Stop your credit card, stop your checking account, whatever it is. Don't let any payments go through. That's all I have, thank you. John?
We have a request from our Human Resource Manager, Diane Lyons, reminding us that the PELRAS conference is coming up. That's the Public Employer Labor Relations Advisory Service. They have an annual conference in State College from March 16th to March 18th. And she would like permission to attend. I would also move that Brian McGrath, John Groh, and myself in our capacity as department administrators and Mark Zarczewski as our treasurer also be permitted to attend the conference. Total cost for 5 employees, including hotel accommodations and fees, is $2,953.
Okay.
Is that a motion?
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Okay. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
I vote yes. Anything else?
Yes, there's also another conference coming up regarding stormwater. That's sponsored by the Pennsylvania Water Environment Association. It's Stormwater Essentials Workshop. We have requests from our engineer, Rick Morris, to attend this conference that will take place in Cranberry Township on February 18th. The cost, the fee for the training is $115. I would also request that as administrator to the engineering department, I also would be permitted to attend So at a total cost of $230, I would move that Rick Morris and myself be permitted to attend this training.
Okay, do I hear a second on that?
I'll second that.
Okay. Mr. McGrath, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Morgan?
Yes.
I vote yes.
The only point of business I have, gentlemen, is as we noted at the reorganization meeting, we had a vacancy on our planning commission. Since that time, I've interviewed several candidates that had expressed interest in the position. And as liaison to the planning commission, I would recommend that we appoint Mr. Timothy Nagel. He's president of the Neighborhood Association along Wolfrun Drive. He also has an engineering background. He's present, if you want to stand up, Mr. Nagel. But I would make a motion that we appoint Mr. Nagel to our planning commission.
Okay. Do I hear a second on that?
I'll second it.
Okay. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
And I vote yes.
And Mr. Chairman, there's also interest from the board to try and add a little bit of diversity to our planning commission. We did have a woman apply to serve on the commission named Linda McCabe, a lifelong Millcreek resident, very involved in the community. I would motion that we appoint Ms. McCabe as the alternate to the planning commission.
I'll second that.
Okay. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Mr. McGrath?
Yes.
I vote yes.
I would bring up one more topic, Chairman, to discuss. At our last meeting, we voted to retain Chief Tesor as our Director of Police starting on February 1st. At the time, I expressed some concern about setting a new precedent for allowing Chief Tesor to retire and then be rehired as Director of Police. And I mentioned at that meeting that I look forward to working with you gentlemen to try and resolve this issue. Since that time, I have spoken with our Human Resources Manager to figure out what an appropriate timeline would be for finding a successor for Chief Tesor. It seems in the past, even when we've gone through utilizing private services to help us find candidates on a national level, it takes about 5 months. Speaking with Chief Tesor also, as far as how long it would take for him to train a successor, he says it would probably be about a 4-month training period. So I think it's appropriate for this board to move as quickly as possible to find a long-term solution to lead our police force. I have complete confidence in Chief Tesor's ability to lead the force, but I also have complete confidence in Chief Tesor to be able to help us find and train his successor within the year. I would move this board authorize the Administrator of Police, John Groh, to begin a process with Chief Tesor and our Human Resources Department to search for and select a candidate and have them trained to take that position before the end of the year.
That's a motion?
Yes.
I'll second that.
Okay. Mr. Morgan, how do you vote?
Maybe that should go public comment because that's not
Yeah.
on the agenda.
Okay, yeah. Any public comment on that matter there? Okay, being none?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Morgan?
I vote yes.
Okay, and I vote yes. Okay. Evan, do you have any comment?
I have none.
Communications? Cheryl, anything? Rick Morris, anything?
I have one item.
Okay.
This came in just this afternoon, and it concerns a non-substantial land development plan amendment for First Energy. Previously this evening, we had before you the Stormwater Management Maintenance Agreement. Well, they've decided, with little difference to the Stormwater Management Agreement, to change their access point. They want to improve and widen an existing gravel driveway. Since it's access to our public road, we brought it before you and we would recommend approval.
Okay. Will this have any significant impact on that land development plan?
Not at all.
I didn't think so. I just
No.
wanted to clarify.
Maybe
that.
one truck a week will
Okay.
enter there.
Okay, so it's no big deal then.
Correct.
Okay. Well, here a motion to approve that request.
I'll move approval.
Okay, a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. McGrath, how do you vote?
Public.
Public
What?
comment, I'm sorry. Public comment being none. Okay. Mr. McGrath, how do you
Yes.
vote? Mr. Morgan?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I do have two things here on the agenda. the 2015 building construction report, and also the December 2015. Let me start with the December. Of course, it's a slow time of year. We issued, let's see here, a total value of construction, $639,000 of construction value. Of course, it's that time of year again. One mobile home and a couple retail stores for remodel. These copies of these reports are available online or at the zoning department tomorrow morning. Then the total for the year, in the residential category, I'll just give you the total number for that. We had a total construction value of $13,600,980 of construction value, and it included 30 new single-family dwellings, 4 two-family, 4 apartment buildings, and 2 mobile homes. Under the commercial or non-residential structures, there was a total of 102 structures, non-residential. That, of course, includes sheds and accessory buildings, and garages and carports and patios and decks. The construction value on that was $18,167,416 for a grand total of $31,768,396. Pretty good year, I think, you know, all things considered.
Well, one of those was the
Yeah.
building on here in Route 20 for $6 million. That was a
yeah,
biggie.
That's a big one to get there. And of course, then the tax revenue, well, they probably won't get a lot of tax revenue out of that one there. So anyway, the copies are available online, or if you want a paper copy, go to the zoning department tomorrow morning. Item number 21, citizens to be heard. Citizens to be heard. Anybody? Yep. Sir, if you would, when you get up there, state that we have a sheet there, a sign-in sheet. If you state your name and your address, and you'll have 5 minutes to make a presentation.
Sure. My name is Attorney Brendan Petrick. I represent Madeline Trimble, who's here this evening with respect to her property located at 1340 Kuntz Road and the township's recently acquired property adjacent to that 1330 Kuntz Road. On December 8th, I outlined in my correspondence to Solicitor Adair certain boundary disputes that I believed could be resolved without the necessity of litigation. I don't know if that correspondence has been forwarded to the board.
It has.
I have a copy, but basically, and the survey I had attached to that correspondence, I've enlarged, but essentially, the correspondence indicates that in this survey, the township's access to the driveway is located on my client's property, and similarly, there is a portion of her garage that appears to be on the township's property. This has been the state of affairs, from what I can understand, since at least 1964. And there hasn't been much progress in addressing this issue such that Mrs. Trimble can market her property as it exists. I believe that a quick and easy way to address the apparent boundary disputes would be the granting of easements to permit the continued use of the township to access its property through Ms. Trimble's driveway, and an easement that recognizes the long-standing property that appears to be encroaching by at most 19 feet on the existing survey property line. I believe it's an inexpensive option to pursue, and permits my client to move on with marketing her property that she has since moved out. And I don't believe that there is anything inherently incapable of making a mutual easement on behalf of the properties that would implicate any delays in what the township may or may not be preparing with respect to marketing their property. I think if anything, it clears up marketability or development on both properties. And so I would suggest that at least this board pursue maybe acting on a resolution of a property dispute in this matter, rather than being forced to litigate this,
Okay.
which really doesn't seem to be in anybody's best interest. Certainly, if you have any questions, I'd like to address them. I can address them.
Okay. Let me just say, first of all, as far as doing any, talk right now here about this, that would be way out of procedure for us to do that, okay?
Oh,
We'd be consulting with our solicitor about this matter. And also keep in mind for the record, and you probably know this, we just acquired this property in May, I think it was, of 2015. And we purchased that at sheriff's sale so that we could satisfy a lien, a sizable sewer lien, I think, or water line lien. So we acquired that and unfortunately found out what a deplorable property that was, and took the measures to get rid of the property, clean the site up, and in fact, just in December, of course, the property was burned, I think in November, what the wood was, and then of course the concrete portions of it were demolished here in December, and I think it was just finally got to a final grade, and in the last 2 weeks, I think it may have been, maybe right after the beginning of the year. So we're at that point, and would we be, talking, getting this matter taken care of? I'm sure we will be there very soon. We don't want to keep this property. We're not in a real estate business. We don't want to own a whole lot there. So I think, the best thing that we can do is have our solicitor engage in conversation with you about this and see where it's going. Personally, I don't see where we need to go in litigation on this. It may not be moving in your client's time. We're moving at a time where I think that we're doing what we need to do as, taking care of a problem here. It's not that we're dragging our feet. We're doing what we can to get this matter taken care of. It's very methodical in how this is being done. Nothing has been held up. Property demolished, brought up to grade. Now, soon, I'm hoping, we'll be taking care of the rest of this.
Evan, jump in here if you think I'm going too far, but we were not aware of the driveway issue until you raised it just very recently. The township sent our survey crew over, and the amount of property that is being, or was being used by the previous owner, the previous tenant, that is on Mrs. Trimble's property is extremely minimal, to the point where the township has already considered just simply shifting the driveway over a little bit to the east, and removing any doubt as to where the access would be for the former Lori property, the property that's now the township's. So there would be no driveway or use of the Trimble property by the township or by the future owners of that property. So we will be relocating the driveway.
I guess is the suggestion that there's been a new survey commissioned by the supervisors that
No.
is, okay, so it's,
No,
so
we
it's not the suggestion that this survey is inaccurate?
No.
Okay.
No. What I'm saying is our survey crew went over to see just how much of that driveway was actually located on the Trimble property, and it's minimal. It's very small. And by relocating the driveway to the east slightly, we would be able to remove any need for access to the Trimble property.
You was fine for the
Okay, well, okay, order.
If the township isn't able to do that, if we're not able to move the driveway over, then I suppose we'll have to talk. But our engineering department didn't see any problem with doing that. And if that's actually the case, if we are able to relocate the property and to avoid any need for, as you say, litigation, I suppose that if Mrs. Trimble wanted to do the same and somehow move the garage, we could just walk away and everybody would be happy.
Right, well, I think the likelihood of Mrs. Trimble moving her garage is unlikely.
Yeah.
Is there any indication as to when I might be able to expect to move forward with discussions on these lines in some sort of a timetable? The nature of what the board has identified as progress on the property has absolutely no impact on the suggestion of granting easements as discussed in my correspondence or my.
Well, I think that you do deserve, I know that you do deserve a response from the township. I think the ball is back in our court, and our solicitor mentioned prior to the meeting that he needs direction from the board in order to give you that response, and we will give our solicitor that direction. So you'll be getting something in writing from the township.
Okay. Is there any proposed date when I might be able to expect that correspondence?
Any ballpark, Evan?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
When
the
you're-
supervisor's going to have to give me some direction.
Guys, we're going to get together at some point, probably next week. Can we put this on, can we schedule a meeting with the three of us and Mr. Morris?
Well,
and
we're going to be
Mr.
meeting with
Adair?
Evan tomorrow, if that would be convenient.
Well, actually, Thursday.
I'm sorry, Thursday, not tomorrow, Thursday.
That might be the best time.
I mean, look, Mr. Petrick, with all due respect, you sent one letter to me in December. You didn't mention the word easement, I don't believe. You didn't mention that, oh, there's an encroachment by your client's building. And so we've had to do a certain amount of checking. I must also just note that that's one of the very few surveys I've seen in a long time that didn't bother to show the right-of-way line or the street line of the road that abuts the property. And you don't own the street any more than anybody else owns the street. So if there's a divergence in the middle of the right-of-way, that doesn't much matter. I can tell you that one. So they had to do some checking. We talked about it last Thursday. We'll talk about it hopefully again this Thursday without having to do another thing. And we will get back to you. But so that you don't feel too bad about the delay, once upon a time there was going to be a judicial tax sale of the Lori property, and Ms. Trimble asked that people who were owed money, like us, allow a postponement of it for a year, by the way, so that she could have time to work out a deal with Mr. Lori. And as a result, we cut her a deal, we held off, we didn't get paid, and we ended up put in a position we shouldn't have had to be put in. So I don't think your concern about not hearing in a month really bears that much relationship to our sitting around for over a year and then finding out we were in a position we didn't deserve to be in. So we will get back to you, and we will get back to you soon.
I believe the board
Can I,
member
can
said
I,
that.
can I
Sure.
speak real quick?
Sure.
I understand there's a history to this. I'm not really sure why we're comparing whose delay is greater than the other person's delay. Rick, Evan, is it reasonable that we can have some kind of formal response to these folks within 30 days? Is that a reasonable thing for us to accomplish?
One thing I'd like to point out is that we've had snow cover. We cannot find survey points when we have snow cover. So when we receive a letter in winter with all the snow cover, we need time for the snow to melt. Now, maybe after the rain today, it has melted. I don't know. But I'd like to see the survey points
Well, your survey crew was over there, was it last week or the week before?
Yeah, and they
there
couldn't
was
find
still
everything.
A foot of snow in there.
Yeah,
Right.
even though it had warmed up a little bit.
We've tried, but we
Yeah.
couldn't do it.
Right. I think I speak for the board here, as for the township, when I say that, we want to get rid of this problem as soon as possible. The problem is that owning that property and whatever else it needs to have happen. Well, as I said, we're not in the business to own real estate that we have nothing to do with, you know. We bought that to satisfy a lien. Luckily, this thing is going to work out, you know, by the time we put our costs in there for the demolition and everything, satisfying the lien, we may come out even. And that's what we're really hoping for on that matter. But this is something that is on the side of it there. It is not forgotten. We're aware of it there. Like I said, it may not be moving in the time that you'd like it to move, but it is moving along here. And I told you the timeline of what we've done so far with this thing. So,
It's been a
please-
nightmare.
Please bear with us, Mr. Patrick, and your client too. I understand the impatience on that, but please, we're not trying to give anybody a hard time or delay anything that could be.
Perhaps I'm missing something as to conceptually why it is difficult to recognize the issue and then sort of move forward on that end. I guess the costs associated with you cleaning the property don't have much of a bearing on my client as to trying to move forward and market the property.
Okay.
Which I think is beneficial to the township as well.
Well, sure, yeah. I understand her desire to
Well, our
market it.
cleaning up the property, I think, was extremely beneficial to your client.
Yeah. Did you see, you probably don't see the photos.
I have seen,
was-
I've seen the,
Yeah.
no, not,
Yeah, rather than belabor this whole matter, I can just tell you, Mr. Patrick, that we will be talking with our solicitor, Mr. Adair, on Thursday, and we'll come up with a consensus, and he'll be in contact with you one way or the other. How's that sound?
Quickly.
Rather rapidly,
so
we
we're-
understand.
But we're not looking for a 30-day time period. That time frame has been unworkable.
I think we can get it to you long before that.
Yeah. As far as having total resolution to it, I don't know if it's going to be 30 days, because, you know, there's a procedure we go through here at the meetings to, you know, to approve easements and stuff like that. If that is what, if that's
I
the
would
course
say
we
it's
go.
reasonable we can at least respond to his December 8th letter within 30 days with some form of formal response to it.
I am sure that we could get a response. I mean, if it involves surveying, I can't control when surveys get done. And I would just, you know, the coming up here, that was your call. That's not really the way you do this. But until you wrote a letter in mid-December, I don't think anybody in 10 years had mentioned, oh, by the way, we think the Lorag entrance encroaches on the Trimble property. I don't think anybody here ever heard that. So we've had a month with snow on the ground for the last 2-3 weeks to deal with a new issue that you raised in your letter. We had spent a lot of time with her prior counsel trying to get in the ballpark of what did Ms. Trimble really need to accomplish the objective of owning the property on which all of her buildings are located. We spent a lot of time while we were cleaning up the property.
And sir, and Ms. Trimble, I'll apologize as being new to the board. This issue only came to me last week, so it's a new issue to me, so I apologize if I'm holding that up in any respect.
I appreciate the
Okay.
board's.
Stay positive. We'll get it taken care of. It'll be done. Any other citizens to be heard? Okay. Millette, Chris Millette. Is there a pen up there?
No, that's
Oh,
okay. Fine.
okay.
Yeah.
We know who you are, but if you would write it down anyway.
There's not much ink left.
And please, for the record, state your name and address.
My name is Gary Bear, 4045 Fiber Drive.
Yes, Mr. Bear.
I have a few points.
Okay? You have 5 minutes, okay?
I understand.
Okay.
First one, you don't have to answer yet. You answer in your time.
I'll wait till you're done, okay?
Will you have state tax forms in your building?
Yes, okay.
Okay. Second thing is sewer, the sewer bill, which I received was 0, and so I contacted our sewer department. They were polite, and I asked them, what was the sewer bill going to be? When was it going to be issued, and how much was it going to be for? They referred me to the city, who was also polite, but they had no idea. So the question I would like to know is, what is the billing schedule for the sewer? Is it prorated, starting with February and March? And what will it be combined with the total? Because I don't want to get slammed with 3 months plus 2 months and
Right.
ridiculousness.
Okay.
The other thing is the burning ordinance needs to be updated. And it should patch to the recycling ordinance. And I bring this up because the township says, supervisors have said over the years, no burning in Millcreek Township.
Yeah.
However, the burning ordinance says you can burn on Saturday. It does. And that takes the tooth out of the bite when you try to enforce it.
Okay.
The other side is that, so we need to have that understood, because when there's only one shift support for reviewing violations. And then the second and third shift, when homeowners are allegedly cooking hot dogs whenever the police show up, it takes relatively the back door. But somebody who's cooking hot dogs shouldn't be allowed to cook from 6 o'clock to 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock in the morning. This smoking scenario of this on and outdoor burning and these things, it's a danger to your health. Now, I happen to have a son who's compromised lungs and such, and it's not good. So I request that we take some time, look at that. I'd be more than glad to do anything you wish, but that needs to be done. Then the other thing, the last thing would be the stormwater project. That Environment Erie was here, discussed back in October, I believe it was?
Yes.
11/10, excuse me.
Right.
Where do we stand on that? I thought perhaps this scenario where Rick is going to go, was about Environment Erie bringing you gentlemen, Rick, together to go someplace, to bring something together to fit with their whole effort to get grants and upgrade and landscaping and all this good stuff. So where do we stand on that? And will we get regular updates?
Okay.
No, it's your turn. Do you remember what you're going to say?
Yes, I do, actually. Okay, the sewer billing, let me check on that to see what that is supposed to be for that prorating, or if there's prorating, or how it's going to be done. I understand your point there. Saturday burning, I'm going to have to check on that because I believe, maybe I'm wrong, I could be, I've been wrong many times.
I have it on my phone.
Okay. There is just a ban on burning here, and of course you have your recreational stuff, the hot dogs, the little chimeneas and stuff like that. But Saturday burning, I mean, if there must be, it sounds like if this is correct, I'm not saying it's not, there could be a conflict of ordinances. That Saturday burning is conflicting with, our
There's
burning
nothing in
ban.
any ordinance that says you can't burn on Saturday. It says you can burn on Saturday, but because it goes and takes into consideration the fact we have a diverse township. We have housing, we have some places that are less sparse and such, and allowed burning in that as a compromise, I believe.
Right, yeah.
So, it's
Okay.
there.
Okay, so I will check on that there. As far as the stormwater from Environment Erie, we just actually last week just got the grant application for that. So we are progressing on that there. We're, of course, well, that's one of those things that doesn't move fast enough for me, okay? And I get impatient with that there.
Because there was allegedly going to be potentially a fee, which I call a tax, but Brian doesn't, because that's a fee to everybody. But that's just another name for a tax.
Well, the grant application itself would be for us to receive funds from Environment Erie to do a study to determine our stormwater needs, to determine the level of funding required to address those needs, and to look into other funding options. So it's not necessarily a pre-prescribed solution to it.
What, I understand that, and they refer me back, because I've gone to their websites, all their stuff they've done, and the prior projects they've done, or claim to have done, because I don't know what they've really done, those would apply to them.
Well, and let me clarify, Environment Erie would be basically a pass-through agency for DEP grants.
Well, see, my thing is also, how's it tied to the county plan that they did a few years back? It's got massive documentation online.
That'd be the Act 167 plan?
Pardon?
It's the stormwater
Yeah,
plan
yeah,
kind of?
yeah. There's tons of documentation online on that. The county. So I'm just wondering, how do we tie? That's all.
Well, Rick, how does that tie to the county's plan? Because the county's plan has to be approved, or is supposed to be approved by every municipality in the county, correct?
Supposed to be. And we're also given, or we were given, a model ordinance to go from. And then each municipality was to approve that.
Yeah.
And Evan could tell you how many hours we spent looking that over, reviewing, adding, subtracting, and eventually coming up with our own modified ordinance, which we feel is very good, and it's probably much more restrictive than the model ordinance and any other ordinance that any other municipality passed in Erie County.
I looked
But
at that too.
how does that correlate with the Stormwater Authority, or how we may receive other funding? It's not really the same. The Stormwater Authority, of course, would have to abide by our stormwater ordinance, but the ordinance itself is something that was derived from the county plan's model ordinance.
I'm just concerned about how all this ties together. You're going off with another group down there in Cranberry, which is good. And-
it's-
Well, I'm just trying to tie these pieces together, that's all.
Right, but that's only a
Not making a
seminar,
judgment.
a little more education, and it isn't just on the Stormwater Management Authority, it's also on the MS4 rules and regulations.
Okay.
Okay?
Mr. Bear, before you leave there, I can check on these things tomorrow. Can I call you back
Send
with
me
an
an
answer?
email. That's
Or
fine.
I
I don't
can
know
shoot
where
you an
I'm gonna
email.
be, you know.
Okay, I'll send you an email then,
That sounds
okay. Try to get you answers for those questions.
Thank you
therefore.
very much.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your comments. Anybody else? Being none, we'll call for adjournment of the meeting. Do I hear a motion?
I'll move to adjourn at 8:22.
8:22, second.
I'll second.
Okay, we're out of here. Thanks.
You're watching the Millcreek Government Channel, powered by WQLN Public Media.